I know exactly what I was expecting from a movie called Deathbed, the Bed That Eats. And I think I know what all of us were expecting. We were expecting something like this. Or if not that, then like a couch bed that has razor-sharp teeth on its edges and folds itself up, chomping on our horny teenage friends. Is that what we get in Deathbed, the Bed That Eats? Is it like the refrigerator, but about a bed? No! Who would have thought that a movie that admittedly is about a killer bed is actually some kind of exploitation art film, where characters speak to each other in an internal monologue, statues bleed tears as if they're posing for a Caligula knockoff, beautiful flowers grow in the garden once the bed eats, and there is an artist living inside his own painting within the walls of the mansion. And he says lines like this.
I've been imprisoned behind my painting in this limbo for 60 years now since my death. I think half that time I've spent in listening to that monster snore.
Maybe he's just talking that way because he is an artist. I know I talk that way when I'm off camera. But no, this is how everyone else in this movie talks.
What have you been reading that we couldn't find you? A book of dead people. I'm in it, and you are too. I'm not in here. There's nothing in here.
It's as if Ingmar Bergman went insane and made a movie about a killer bed. How insane, you ask? Here's what the movie gives us before we actually see anything. Oh, I'm sorry, this isn't the movie. This is just the sound of Gene Shalit watching the movie. Deathbed, the Bed That Eats, divides itself up into 4 chapters. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and just desserts. God bless the USA, a nation so fat even our movies get 4 square meals a day. Have I mentioned that this bed can also do other things too, like sleep? I guess if the bed finds itself too hard or too soft, it's pretty much screwed. Breakfast is made up of a young couple who breaks into the abandoned mansion that contains the deathbed to get their freak on. Oh yeah, nothing spells romance like a nice bottle of Merlot and the Colonel. Jesus, if you want to get any more romantic, just get her a Big Mac and take her to see Ringmaster. Yeah. Now, I know we all want to know how the bed eats, and I couldn't explain it if I wanted to. So I'll have to show it. It's filled with stomach acid? Or a yellow liquidy digestive system that dissolves its victims? Yeah, pretty much. You'd think it'd be more effective if the makers of this film just used an actual waterbed, but sinking into the mattress to a liquidy center, that works? Oh yeah, the bed can also drink, too. After SpongeBob SquarePants, I no longer question the logistics of being underwater and drinking something other than water. We also see that the bed appears to be able to control really anything in this house. Does it matter if the power is centered in the bed? I mean, I know it's the primary form of possession here, but that's kinda like if they called the Amityville Horror Death Basement. Bottom line, if it can lock the doors, it can most likely break your neck with an ironing board. When lunch comes around, not only do we get to meet, well, lunch, but the wall artist explains the history of the bed. As you can see here, newspapers hold up incredibly well over time when you paste over the headline. The artist takes us through past victims of the deathbed. What the hell is this, the empath episode of Star Trek all of a sudden? It's amazing that all throughout history, no one ever thought to simply get off of the bed. There's a part with a couple of gangsters hiding out on the bed, and they fire 6 rounds into the mattress before they even consider getting off of the evil bed. Wait, they don't even consider getting off. They get eaten. Speaking of getting off, the bed can masturbate. Well, I wish I had that excuse when I had to explain the stains on my old bed. You're probably wondering how the bed became evil. Leave it to this movie to make something as simple as that complicated.
A demon residing in a tree, on a whim, changed himself into a breeze.
Stop! I can already tell this is going to be a bit too much. A demon who was once a tree and then became the wind took human form because he was in love with a woman. And then when his glass eyes break, he cried blood onto the bed, which he built for, sending his spirit into the bed, causing him to be in a constant hunger for flesh. That's not a backstory. That's a Bram Stoker bedtime story. Back to the blood feast. As you can see here, they're quite the insightful bunch.
I wonder where this house is supposed to be. These people had a place to die. They must have had a place to live, too.
Left and right, they individually decide it's time to take a nap on the bed, one by one, for no reason at all, especially seeing how they're simply there just to have a picnic in broad daylight. Oh, okay, so the bed doesn't eat hair. Makes sense, I guess. Looks to me like the bed just wants to turn them into Joan Rivers. After it finishes off its meals, the bed hides its deeds by swallowing the luggage. Jesus, is this whole bed just one big mouth? And also, it makes itself. Ever since I was a child, I wanted a bed that made itself. Deathbed has ruined that for me. The movie is about 70 minutes long, and I think I know how it managed to sneak past an hour in length. It's because it donates about 10 minutes of its screen time to this death sequence where the woman almost gets eaten by the bed, but spends the rest of the scene slowly crawling, and slowly crawling, till the bed finally pulls her back. In the dinner sequence, the brother of one of the would-be victims goes searching for his sister. I particularly like when he runs over her bag, then gets out of the car and inspects it, like he saw it was there, but ran over it anyway. Dick. He finds her catatonic in the room with the bed. That's another thing about this movie. No one has any kind of realistic reaction to anything that goes on here. A woman gets sucked into the bed. Nothing. Lady witnesses it. Nothing. Man gets the flesh of his hands peeled off, and he treats it like a paper cut.
Great.
It's okay, though. At least now he's a lock for his Men Behind the Sun audition. Was that joke too dark? That was a little dark. I guess since everyone in the movie likes to speak in thoughts, we have to assume that on the inside he's screaming, my hands have been ripped apart by a killer bed, and holy shit, there's a killer bed. In Just Desserts, we see the bed come to a demise, and let me just say that it's the most overcomplicated, overthought, unnecessarily intricate way to kill off an evil object that I've ever seen. All you gotta do is just carve a circle in blood around the bed, outline 2 circles in the lawn, gather some bones from the bed's victim to place in the circle, strip down nude in the outdoor circle, which teleports the bed outside, causing it to go up in flames, ridding the world of this evil lucid dream once and for all. Was that the hardest way to light something on fire that they could think of? Christ, if your end result was just torching the thing, just give Beavis a lighter. He could defeat your deathbed in 5 seconds. Speaking of deathbed in 5 seconds... The weirdest part about this surreal feast is how long it took for this film to get a release. Written and directed by a one-flick wonder George Barry, the film was made in 1972. It didn't get a print made until 1977 and spent 30 years in obscurity until finally getting an official release in 2003. It took 30 years for this movie to get a legitimate release. 30 fucking years. Even the worst movies I've reviewed probably didn't spend more than 2 or 3 years on the shelves. Christ, I bet fucking Porno Holocaust was released a whole 2 fucking hours after it completed its initial filming. All I'm saying is that this is a movie that's hardly so bad that it should have been neglected a release for over a whole generation. It's arty, pretentious, feels like a class film, and... Wait. Does that mean that I like it? I did compare it to Bergman earlier. Could it be that I, the Cinema Snob, have found a movie post-episode Sallow to wet my teeth?
If only I could speak beyond this painting and warn them. If only the demon would dream.
Oh, giant television with your plastic screen mocking my every reaction to your wretched moving pictures. You show me images of nudist zombies, Turkish space warriors, and pornography of the Nazi ilk, yet all I have wished for is the tiny bit of pretentious morsel that only you have the power to deliver. And deliver it seems that you have. But for how long? What will the picture box bring me next? Cannibal Confederates? Creepazoids? Another non-troll troll sequel? Did I leave my Hot Pocket in the microwave? Oh, bollocks. And yes, I am fully aware that my thoughts have a British accent.